Alright, what's up, y'all? Let me get in this real quick. Alright, so we're back at Dom's table. Not Dom's, Taylor's table. My bad. Alright, so we got new people. We got Tariq, he's new.
Yeah, y'all.
We got Francisco. We got Rashawn had to leave. He had to go somewhere to go to class. We got Justin right here, the basketball guy, and we got the boxing guy right here. So we're just gonna all of us are just gonna talk about our favorite sports, say why it's the best, get a little bit of dialogue. Alright, so I'm gonna start with you.
Alright, y'all. I'm gonna go with football. I like basketball too, but I'm gonna stick with football for the sake of argument. I feel like football just has a little edge on the other sports because the physical activity that goes along with the sport. You got people hitting each other, you got people picking each other up, and just I guess you said the dialogue between the games. You hear people trash talk, you hear people get plays, and it's to me the positions. There's a lot of positions in the sport. You got quarterback who runs the show, running back who takes probably one of the most damage on the body with going through the holes, going through splits and stuff, and receivers, who my personal favorite position, and then the defensive too. So it's two type of games going on. You got offensive game, then you got the defensive game. So I feel like just having those two different types of just routine, the game going in throughout the whole game is very interesting. It's very fun to watch as well. When you're sitting down with your buddies, you're sitting down with your friends, and you're watching the game. It's more of like a dialogue when you're watching the sport. You can debate about it. You can talk about, hey, that wasn't a foul, that wasn't a hit. It's just something a little bit that you can't do with rugby. I don't know, but that's why I feel like it's just a little bit better. It's a little better.
Alright, so you mentioned rugby, so I'm gonna go and throw it to Francisco.
Alright, man. So rugby has football took a lot of the fundamentals of what rugby started. For example, rugby, we don't use protections at all times. And like you said, we do have offense and defense. For us, it's more of a physical contact. But within rugby, you don't do a lot of smack talking, none of that. It's more of respect to each other. Before you start the rugby game, each team has your own, how can I explain it? Your own tribal show-off thing. So each one of them goes in front of their face, and that's like showing, basically like their show-off. But not really, it's showing their respects to one to another before they play the game. And then I feel that rugby is much more better because, you're more freely, you get to do whatever, basically you get to do whatever you want. It's like free football out there. You knock somebody out, okay, boom, go. You scored, you come again, back and forth. And within football, you don't have that. Football is very slow to me. Like you stop, okay, we gotta do this play. It is very boring to me. In rugby, it's a constant thing. You get hit, oh shit, okay. You move to another person gets hit. You move on. It's not a stop play, all that stuff. So for me, the keep on movement of the game is much better than football. That's just my opinion.
Alright, so what about you, man? You basketball guy. How do you feel about these football and rugby guys talking right now like they're the best sport?
I feel like the global appeal of basketball extends farther than football or rugby. Even though rugby is a more Western European style sport and football is more North American, I feel basketball is able to touch both sides or all sides of the globe. Even originating here in America, it went from fruit baskets to metal hoops to being played on global stages. Now you have teams, players coming from different countries in order to participate and show their skill sets. And we had, the social interaction with players and actually, the fans and the media is on a, far greater level than rugby or football. You have, players with Twitter accounts, responding to fans like, oh, what shoes should I wear tonight? Or, oh, how, for fun, how many points should I score on this particular team? Mm-hmm. And the fact that it is a global game that, anybody can pick up, a ball and play the game. Now, in order to be skilled, of course, you have to work at your craft. You have to, it's a mentally taxing game, physically taxing game. But the fact that, it's appealing to be able to pick up a ball, and play with your friends and your family members, the togetherness of the sport is what makes it better.
Alright, what about you with the boxing, man?
I can definitely respect the opinions stated by the other sports. Every sport is unique in its own individual way, it has its own crowd, it's got its own energy behind it. Definitely can respect the physical aspects of both football and rugby as well as the socialization of basketball. I do agree that basketball is a very global sport. However, I can dispute that boxing is even more so global. because the way I see it, right? Anybody can box. Yeah, that's true. But it's more of a anybody can participate, but not everyone can be the best type of situations because it is part of something that's mental. So in a global retrospect, of course, we have boxing in America, but we also have like fighters who fly out from around the world and participate. They're Russian boxers, they're Chinese, Japanese, African. Like it's definitely a global sport as well. So I can definitely say that I can put boxing up against basketball in a sense of like globability, social activity. I would definitely rank boxing among that. But I can also dispute that boxing is, in my opinion, more physical than football in terms of in playing football, the aspect of the game is not to injure the other players. It's still to score points for your team.
True.
And the physical altercations are just byproducts of playing the game. So boxing is very different because when you step into the ring, you're going with that mentality of
Knocking them out.
I'm going to put you down. Whether I knock you out or we drag this fight out all day, you're going to hit this mat. So, I definitely, in my opinion, see boxing as a little bit more physically demanding than football. I'm not really too sure how I would compare it to rugby because, as Francisco said, rugby is, without pads and almost, essentially, you can almost do whatever you want. You run into somebody here, they fall down, boom, that's it. You keep running the play. It's a little bit, different than football in terms of physicality. So, I would put boxing up next to it, but I'm not too sure if I would say that it is definitely more physical than rugby. But I do think boxing is the best because it combines both mental and physical attributes. You can go into the ring and just fight someone all day, but the best fighters, they implemented, using their mind along with their fists. So in that aspect, I definitely can say that I think boxing is better because it's not just physical, it's mental combination, and that, to be the best, you have to want that for yourself. Anyone can step into the ring and throw hands, anyone can go on the field and toss a football, anyone can go on the court and toss a basketball, but one thing that we all have in common is that to be the best, you have to put in that mental time and you have to put in that work. So that's my position on that.
All interesting positions. Basketball guy, I feel like basketball one, but that's just my opinion. But we don't got enough time, so that's it. That's Dom's court, Taylor's court, whatever. I really